Good morning, Cempakans. We meet again at my assembly. Well, to start off today, let's just listen to our virtual voices singing in tribute to all the frontliners with You Raise Me Up.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger. Each restless heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Yes, this is in tribute of all the people working out there while we stay at home. Now, Mr. Wong is going to show us what is social distancing with a deck of cards. So you can see something that is, we say nothing is impossible. But with a deck of cards, he can show that it is possible and to visualize what social distancing is like, and if we don't have social distancing, what is going to happen. Let's watch.
You know, it's amazing how in these times, many people still do not take social distancing very seriously. So today, I'm going to give you a little demonstration to show you how important it is to maintain your social distance and what actually happens if you don't do that. Now, I want you to imagine this deck of cards represent the people in a city. All right, from the outside, as you can see, they all look pretty normal. But on the inside, everyone's different. But some people that are hardworking and industrious, some people that are noble and ambitious, some people that are rich, whether in health, in happiness, or in wealth. And some people are just so full of love, and happiness. And you've got some people that are as pale as a sheet inside. What does that mean? It means they're not really very well, even though they might not believe. So, for purposes of demonstration, let's just say that that is patient zero. Now, somewhere along the way, patient zero contracted the coronavirus. Well, in the first place, patient zero contracted the virus because he or she didn't really believe in social distancing. And because of that, when patient zero came home to his or her family, patient zero didn't practice self-isolation. Now, the thing about coronavirus is that it's a very clever looking virus because it can easily hide inside someone and nobody would that it's there on the outside. On the inside, if you look carefully, of course, you would know that the virus is there. So this shows you how important it is to practice social distancing in the first place. And if for whatever reason you believe that you've come into contact with someone who may have the virus, to self-isolate immediately when you come home. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is that you're going to pass the virus to all your loved ones. And before you know it, everyone in your family is going to get the virus. Now, by the time patient 0 realizes that he or she has the coronavirus and therefore has to self-isolate, it's actually too late for the rest of the family. Because by then, they've all really caught the virus. And here comes the really scary part. Because each of them didn't know that they had the virus. They went about their normal lives. And so, next thing you know, all the colleagues working with the spouse gets the virus. And all the friends of the older kid gets the virus. And all the schoolmates and their parents, even the little one, gets the virus. Before you know it, the entire city gets the virus. That sort of explains why many cities have tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of coronavirus victims today. And it all started because someone didn't believe in the importance of social distancing and self-isolation. So this is my message to you. You don't want to be the person that's responsible for killing your entire city and all your loved ones. So please, pay attention to social distancing and self-isolation. And if in any way you find this helpful in spreading the message to your friends, your families, and your colleagues, please do so. Until then, stay safe.
Cempakans. Now, let's go to Mr. Chan. He actually did a recording of him playing the violin, but not playing a tune, but playing to the sound of animals, you know. So you could hear the seagulls, the birds, horses, you know, with his violin. And he told me that there was a bird outside his window that was actually chirping to the sound of the bird on his violin. So he did this 3 times. And there was this great conversation between the bird outside his window and the sound of the bird on his violin, you know. So it's like, it's quite amazing, I think, to see this thing, you know. Yes, have a look. Now, talking about art, last week I did tell you that I'm going to talk about what I did for my IB, my comparative piece of art, but I'm not going to show you this time, but I'm going to tell you or discuss this thing that has been done by Benjamin from Damansara. He's into digital art. Now, he started art when he was 6 years old. He's very talented, and his parents would draw the subject, and he will just color in the subject. And then later on, he enrolled in a school. His mother enrolled him in art school, and he started to do his own drawing, basic drawing. Then later on, he's so interested in art, and at the age of 8, he started to do his own subject, and he took all characters from video games and cartoons. So he's got his own characters, that he painted. And he said that he's really, really into this. And then when he was 11 years old, he started to watch lots of YouTubes, and he found this content called story times. And he wanted to do his own video on how he can do art. And he got a stylus, and he will have the stylus to draw, and he was doing it so much, practicing so much. Within 3 months, his stylus got worn out. And he really wanted this tablet called Vacuum Intuos. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. For his 13th birthday, his parents got this tablet for him to use to draw. And then he downloaded a free software onto his laptop and started to draw. And he said that it took him 3 months, to get the hang of drawing on this with a stylus, where you can draw on the tablet, and then you can see it on the screen and how you coordinate the two. So I think you need a lot of practice. So he said it took him 3 months. And then now he's going into it, and he's got his own YouTube channel where he goes on to demonstrate speed digital art. So I'm going to show you something he sent to me. This is drawing a tree, a speed digital art drawing a tree. So have a look. Cempaka. Isn't that amazing? So you see, you can do something and take it seriously. Benjamin started at 6. Well, I started art at 70 plus, so it's not too late for anybody, not too early and not too late to do something seriously and do it well. So congratulations, Benjamin. That's really, really very good. Now, I would like to show and share with you a video about growing your own food. You know, there is this man out in California. He grows his own food and he's gone into community gardening as well. Now, he said it's very important to know where you buy your food, where you get your food, how your food, how vegetables are grown. You know, that's very important because you do not know how, the vegetables are grown. Maybe they use a lot of pesticide, insecticide, and lots of chemicals in the earth, in the ground, and it's not good for you. So it's very important to know where these things are grown and how they grow it. So why not we grow our own edible garden? As you know, in school, we started one, I think it's about 2 years ago, and I think the primary school children have been to see the garden. We had more than about 70 vegetables and herbs, and now we've got 8 stingless beehives. These are very good. Bees are very good because it promotes pollination. So you get a lot of fruits, a lot of flowers and fruits, and you can harvest many times in a year. So we are also part of the slow food movement that started in Italy. And in October, they're going to have a big conference there. But because of this COVID-19, I do not know whether they're going to postpone that conference, or they're still going to have it in October. But we still do not know because we're still uncertain when the world is going to reopen to a new beginning. So we just have to wait and see. But from this, I want you to watch this video and reflect and think about it. You know, now there are things that I would like to do, but before I wrap up this assembly with what we're going to do when we get back in terms of growing our own food, have a watch.
For the last year, I have been growing and foraging 100% of my food. No grocery stores, no restaurants, not even a drink at a bar. Nature has been my garden, my pantry, and my pharmacy. I'm here in Orlando, Florida, and this abundant garden that I'm standing in right now, this was just a lawn like that when I started. I don't own any land, so to grow my food, I met people in my neighborhood and I turned their front yards into gardens and shared the bounty of food with them. And while I was here, I built a 100 square foot tiny house along with my friends to serve as my simple homestead and my base. In my gardens, I grew over 100 different foods, dozens of different greens packed with nutrients, sweet potatoes, yam, and yucca for my caloric needs, delicious fruits like papayas and bananas, pumpkins, carrots, beans, and beets, so many vegetables, and herbs and peppers to flavor all of my meals. And I also raised bees so that I could have my own candy shop right in my yard. In addition to the huge bounty from my garden, I foraged over 200 different species from nature. I harvested my salt from the ocean simply by collecting it and boiling it down. I got my caffeine from the native Yapan holly tree. Not only was I my own grocery store, I was also my own pharmacist. I grew fresh turmeric and ginger right in my gardens. I harvested wild elderberries to make elderberry syrup to prevent cold and flu. I harvested reishi mushrooms and different medicinal teas, and also grew moringa, also known as the vitamin tree. I cooked up dozens of different healthy meals, fermented veggies to make sauerkraut, and made delicious beverages like honey wine and ginger beer. I whipped up delicious desserts and ate the healthiest of my entire life. And I even grew my own toilet paper. This project wasn't just about growing and foraging all of my own food though. It was about empowering others to grow their own food, to take back power from Big Ag, and ultimately to take back their health and grow their communities. So during this time, I started a few community initiatives. We built 15 gardens for the people, planted over 200 community fruit trees, and sent out over 5,000 free seed packs to help others grow their own organic, healthy food. And I taught dozens of free gardening classes in my gardens to the people in my community. I've been exploring food for close to a decade, and I believe that our globalized, industrialized food system is broken. This was my quest to see if I could step away from Big Ag and grow and forage every single bite of my food. I'll be honest though, I do have an agenda. I want you to question your food. Where did it come from? How was it grown? How did it get to you? And what was the impact that it had on the earth, other species, and the humans that grow that food? And if you don't like the answers that you find, I want to empower you to change them. The good news though is that you don't have to grow and forage all of your food. The solutions are there in your community. You can grow a little bit of your own food, maybe an herb garden on your windowsill, or some pots of tomatoes and basil on your balcony, or a raised bed in your front yard. And if you don't have any space at all, you can join a community garden. You can source your food locally and purchase from local farmers and gardeners. The farmers market is a great place to start. You can buy whole foods and cook more, rather than packaged processed foods that leave trash behind. And you can work with your community to make healthy foods for people in need, grow a garden for your elderly neighbor, or start a grassroots organization to harvest the fruit trees in your community to distribute it to others. And this doesn't need to be a lonely journey. For most of us, food is at the center of our lives, and we can do this together in our communities. My year is over, but my journey of food has just begun. A book is in the works, and 100% of my proceeds will be donated to organizations working on the food solutions. And I'll be here online sharing inspiration and education on how you can get involved in gaining food freedom.
Well, Cempakans, there you are. It's amazing, isn't it? If you can grow your own food and you're also your own pharmacist, because some of the herbs are very good for you. So I think it's a good project to get into. Now, when we get back, we're going to do this, okay? Now, we may not grow everything like that man, but because we're a school, so we can design in such a way that your class might plant chilies, for instance. Another class can plant some other vegetables, and another class can just have bees, Then we can have harvesting time and we can exchange our vegetables. So therefore, then we'll have a great variety of food that we can share. Now, how to do this? We have to plan it very, very well. We've got to find out when we can harvest certain kinds of vegetables. So some takes 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or 6 months. So we got to have a sort of a calendar of our edible garden. And then when do we harvest this? And then, the types of herbs that we plant. So we need to do that. So we need, 1, to plan harvesting time, planting time, harvesting time. 2, what I would like to do, actually, I would like you to think of designing something like ways for food or a map for food, where we plant this food. Like say in your house you plant vegetables, so we'll have your location to say you can get vegetables here, and I plant lady's fingers, then my location will be for lady's fingers, and the date when you can come to harvest or exchange. So we can do that, so people can find out where they can get what vegetables in which location. So that's really very good. Now 3, we can even have a recipe book using all the vegetables that we plant and in our recipes. Another thing, we can also design or plan a gardening book, because when you start gardening, there'll be lots of challenges. For instance, there'll be pests, and how do you control your pests? You don't want to use chemicals, so what do you do? Like, for instance, you will have snails, so how do you get rid of snails? You just put salt and that's it. There are many other challenges. Like in our garden, we planted pumpkins, and then suddenly we find that lots of squirrels came to eat the pumpkins, and they're very, very cunning, the squirrels, because they do not actually eat the pumpkin from the outside inside, but they will bore a hole and they will eat the inside of the pumpkin. Then when you go to your pumpkin patch and you see a huge pumpkin, you say, wow, it's so nice, a huge pumpkin. But actually it's hollow, because the squirrels, they have bore a hole in it, and they have sort of make a huge hollow out, they call it, your pumpkin. So what did we do to solve this problem? Actually, what I did, I told somebody to buy bells, to buy bells, and then we put bells in our pumpkin patch, you see. So when the squirrels come, and they'll get so frightened of the bells, and they will just run away, so they don't come and eat our pumpkins. So there you are. That's something that we learn. So maybe you learn something else we can share. So it's going to be a very good experience. So that's our first project when we get back. This wraps up today's assembly, but please stay tuned for next week's assembly, because I'm going to show you what the cinema community, I think cinema club and community in Cheras did. They had this LA project. What is LA? LA is life at home. Yes, LA is life at home. So life at home. So a few of them, and Ilham actually got in touch with me, and he sent me all these videos. Children have done videos of what it's like life at home. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to see this life at home, LA, and as well as I will share with you my comparative study. I didn't have time to do it today because I didn't have all those photographs. I didn't have time to download some of the photographs, and I've got to compile some of the processes that I did. So I will be sharing that with you next week. So until then, Cempakans, take care, keep safe, and I'll see you again. Bye.